Hey everybody, this is Loli Jane, animal communicator and energy healer from animals-speak.com, and you're listening to Loli Jane Animal Communication Podcast, the show that promises to open your mind and heart to the amazing world of animal communication, energy healing, and what I like to call interspecies therapy. Thanks for joining me. First, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a certified international professional animal communicator and pranic energy healer. I offer remote and in person animal communication, whether they are alive or in spirit. I also offer pranic healing for humans and animals for trauma, injuries, pain, illness, disease, and also behavioral and emotional issues. Again, for both humans and animals. And for the humans, I can also provide spiritual guidance by channeling your angels and guides and even do a past life regression. So if you've ever wanted to become an animal communicator, I also teach animal communication training and provide one on one mentoring. So check out my website and workshop schedules at animals or hyphen speak.com or at mindbodyspiritworkshops.com. Today's episode is an amazing interview with myself and Lisa Huber from the I Am Divine Broadcasting Group, where she is interviewing me all about talking to animals. This interview is very long. It's about 2 hours long. So in this episode, I'll be sharing part one in episode 17. And then next week in episode 18, I'll be sharing part two. And in episode 19, I'll be sharing part three. We'll be talking about everything about animal communication, my personal journey, how I work as an animal communicator, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Lisa Huber, and you're listening to the Divine I Am Broadcast Network, where we bring spiritual and metaphysical awareness from the heart to the public. And today it's my pleasure to introduce my friend Lolly Jane. She's a certified professional animal communicator and graduate of the, whoops, sorry, I do that all the time. Let me get back here. And graduate of the Gurney Institute of Animal Communication and Pranic Healer with the Institute of Asian Studies. And she is thrilled to be serving animals and their humans as an interspecies communicator. She can assist with issues involving behavioral training. I had to look and I'm like, well, physical health, death, dying, and end of life issues. Animals already passed on. Assist locating lost animals, reincarnation, past lives, and animals as our mirrors. She also provides highly effective remote energy healing. Lolly does pro bono work. I think this is so cool with Honolulu Zoo and has worked with the Wild Heart Sanctuary, Pacific Primate Sanctuary, and the Wildlife Way Station doing animal communication, volunteering, or providing pranic healing, a non touch healing technique to balance emotions and remove pain, injuries, illness, disease, stress, trauma while cleansing and energizing chakras. Wow.
Woo! That's a mouthful.
Oh
Oh,
my goodness.
I do a
That is,
lot.
you do. Oh, thank you for taking the time to be here. I
You're
greatly
welcome.
appreciate it. Thank
Wow,
you
did I?
so much.
That's a big bio. Hi guys, I'm so excited. I am
Me
going to talk to you about spirituality and animal communication and how it has changed me in so many ways. So we're gonna have a little metaphysical talk since you're metaphysical spiritual audience. So before I share what it has done for me and the changes it's made in my life, I want to talk a little bit about what animal communication is. Somebody asked me if I bark. They're like, how do you do it? Do you bark? I'm like, no, but that's a great question. Love it. And feel free to ask me questions. You can interrupt me in the middle of this and ask me anything. Um, so animal communication is simply telepathy. It is the way animals communicate with each other. They communicate with each other telepathically. So all of these vocalizations that you hear are warning calls to other animals, they're warning calls to each other, they're vocalizations for us. They don't necessarily communicate with in that language. They communicate with each other. That's why different species can talk to each other.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
your dog and your cat are talking to each other, and you probably are fully aware of that one. You know, they're plotting while you're not at home.
Yes, they are.
So that takes place telepathically. So the way we communicate with animals is a telepathic language. It has no uh, it translates from any language. Somebody asked me once, "Can you speak to a dog who learned German?" Or I've talked to I have clients all over the world, so I have clients in other languages, and telepathy is universal. It's an exchange of thought forms. So when you think a thought, it's like a little bubble. It's called a thought form. And kind of like throw your bubbles out into the universe, all of your thoughts, good and bad. We can do another class on manifestation of thoughts. But our good and bad thoughts go everywhere. So when you're walking by an animal or walking by your animal, they're like, "Oh, I have to shut my ears off because all I hear is these chatter, chatter, chatter from all these humans with all the thoughts, all of our hundreds of thousands of thoughts." So they basically like walk by us going, "I can't hear you, I can't hear you, I can't hear you," especially the wild animals, until you engage with them. Once you engage with them, and the way I do it is I start a conversation with them just like I would with a person. It's not magic, it's not psychic, it's not a guess. I'm actually having a direct conversation with an animal. And um, it's your thoughts, it's images, it's audio sometimes, it's anything using your senses, a sense of smell. So, depending on the sender and the receiver, you know how some people are more visual and um, image oriented, and some people are more audio and they
Yes.
learn better that way?
Mm-hmm.
So are animals. So we have our own set of, what we're best at, and then so do the animals. So depending on the animal that I talk to, sometimes it's more visual and sometimes it's more auditory and sometimes it's more empathic. But let me tell you a little background on me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way I got started was not an overnight thing. It was an evolution of my soul. But I, at age 6, lost my hearing. So I grew up
Okay.
profoundly hard of hearing my entire life, and I still am. And that's why I don't wear the earbuds. I can't. I have a prosthesis in there.
Hmm.
So I've had 2 surgeries. I've had hearing aids, you name it, everything. So, I grew up with this deficit. And when I found animal communication, it was completely life changing, altering.
Oh,
I'll give you the short story because the long story is really long. So I became clairaudient. So throughout my life, it became clear to me that I was a channel, and I became clairaudient. I had a whole angelic experience, which is a whole nother, thing that we can do, talk about. But the angels came to me, taught me how to be clairaudient, so on and so forth. So
I love
my
it.
life progressed, and I met up the. I was living in Hawaii at the time, doing whatever job I could. You don't get to pick your career if you live in Hawaii. You just survive.
Aw.
So I'm doing a sales job. So I'm working in an activity booth and doing sales, which it was okay for me because I was helping people with activities and I like that. But I was doing sales nonetheless. And this woman walks into my booth one day. Her name was Amelia Kincaid, and she was an animal communicator. And she was holding a workshop on the island. And she stayed in my booth for 2 hours that day. And she talked to me and shared with me all of these amazing stories. And I swear to God, it lit me on fire. And that night I went home and I want to share with you stuff about soul animals and my animal Frosty. I went home that night. Frosty had passed away a long time ago. I never had gotten over the grief.
Mhm.
So I went home that night and I had a dream that Frosty came to me in my dream and told me that I need to get a ring that signifies our love for each other, like a marriage, that we're never going to be apart, and to go find a ring that represented us. I still have yet to
Oh.
find a ring. I came in the next day to work, right? And Amelia came back for some odd reason. She came back and she goes, I just want to tell you something. She goes, your dog Frosty told me, and she literally told me the exact same thing that I had a dream about.
Oh,
Exactly, to the T. I was like,
my goodness.
mind blown.
I love it.
So, so I was involved with the Church of Divine Science, which is also called New Thought. And, they kind of knew I talked to Archangel Michael, I was a channel, this and that. So, after another animal communicator had come in, we all went to lunch together. I was picking her brain. I bought her book. And somebody said to me, they said, well, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this. You're an energy healer, you can do that. Well, why aren't you an animal communicator? I said, I don't know because I told myself I can. They said, well, stop it. I said,
Mhm.
okay. So I went home the next day and I'm like, faking it until I make it, right? Right?
Yeah.
Manifestation.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I'm a master animal communicator. I'm a master animal communicator. I'm a master animal communicator. I said that every day. And all of a sudden, I wanted to find myself. I tried to go back and find Amelia like about 5 times, and
Mhm.
the timing never worked out for her to be my teacher. I really tried to find her. She was traveling. She was
Mhm.
here. She was there. She came back to the island twice, but I could not take her class because of logistics. So she wasn't going to be my teacher, but she was my seed that
Yes.
sprouted. So I went on a search to find a school. I ended up with the Gurney Institute of Animal Communication. And the timing was impeccable because I signed up for this class. I flew over there, and lo and behold, COVID was starting. I did
Mm.
not know. We did not know. We were in the class. So
Mhm.
when I flew back after my first workshop, um, I came back and coronavirus was starting, and everybody's like, you need to go on lockdown. I'm like, what is this thing? And so the workshop that used to be live ended up being online for 2 years. So I did a 2 year mentoring program with a mentor, very intensive program. So anyway, I became certified while the whole COVID thing was going on. And so instead of me having to deal with like this whole really heavy, being on lockdown and scared, I was
Yeah.
talking to animals all day long.
I
It
love
was
it.
amazing.
Lolly,
Amazing.
Lolly, where is the Gurney Institute?
The Gurney Institute moved to North Carolina. They were in California.
Mhm.
And I was the last class that there ever will be professionally. She's
Oh,
retiring next
okay.
year. So
Mhm.
she's still going to teach intro classes, but she's not doing any more professional training. I was the last class. So I got on
Wow.
board. My soul led me to this,
That is awesome.
I know, it's amazing. So enough about me. I'm not going to talk about myself anymore.
I love it.
So what I want to share is the absolute profoundness. I could talk for like 10 hours on this stuff. So you guys feel free to ask me questions, okay? So what I want to share with you is um so soul animals. Let's talk about soul animals. So soul animals, so our animals incarnate, the animals that we have in our homes that are next to us. Those animals incarnate over and over and over again. And sometimes you'll meet up with a soul animal and you'll know that animal. You'll know that this is more than, you may have two animals at home, but one of them is your soul animal. And you will know because you will just feel it in your heart that there's something really deep. So my dog Frosty, a white mini American Eskimo, he was my soul animal. And I lost my mother. My mom died. And let me tell you, and other people will tell you this, it was far more painful to lose Frosty. And I went for 13 years crying over this animal. For
Oh,
13 years. I was not an animal communicator back then.
mm-hmm.
And not until I got into this training program at the Gurney Institute did I get complete and total healing. I mean, complete and total healing in this horrible, horrible, gut wrenching, heartbreaking, feeling of loss from him. So I knew he was my soul animal, but I didn't know the depth of it until we learned about doing past life regressions. So the animals, so the purpose of the incarnations is they come back to you over and over and over again. They incarnate with you and they help you with your lessons. So those really big, big, monumental lessons that we have been going through the last couple of years in this incarnation, you guys, we are light workers. If
Yeah.
you're on this broadcast network, you're a light worker.
Mm-hmm.
So this heavy, heavy karmic cycles that we've been going through, this is it, guys. We're not doing it again. I've been told this is the end of the karmic cycle. So all the probably the heaviness, the heaviest karmic debt whatever we've ever had is was this lifetime. And so our soul animals were absolutely with us for sure in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they incarnate to help us with the lessons. And when I do the past life regression, I find out who passed away. We don't have time on this broadcast to do that, but if you
Yeah.
want to learn about that, get in touch with me. I have other YouTube classes. We could do some more stuff on this broadcast. But the past life thing, at the end of the session, while you're while I'm looking at and talking to your animal in the past life and you in the past life, I ask who passed away first, and I ask what are the lessons, um, or what was your last thought
Mm-hmm.
before you passed away. And a lot of times it's like I didn't do enough for my person. My person got hurt and my person got killed. I have to come back and protect them more. So in the
Oh,
next lifetime with them, I got to be back in there and I got to be overprotective. So those animals that are super aggressive and super overprotective and you don't know why, and there's no reason in this lifetime, that's why. So there's a lot of things that happen in other lifetimes, and they carry it forward. They carry the lessons with you forward. You may have wanted a lesson, and they're helping you with your lessons. So the animals that are by your side are walking through your lessons with you, and they're
Lol.
mirroring you. Oh,
Excuse
did
me.
you have a question? Uh huh.
Yeah, Lolly, when you said that, it really hit me too about that they are really wanting to come back and get into your life. We had a cat that lived outside. It was an outdoor cat, indoor, outdoor. And apparently, my kids told me the neighbors up and moved, took the dog and left the cats just to be out. And I thought, ugh. So this cat ran in on Halloween night and just came in our house, and that was it. And it was like, I'm living here. Just came
And
right.
that believe me, that's probably your soul animal. That
Oh
I
my
have
goodness.
I
Yep.
have I have a similar story with a black cat that just
Mm-hmm.
we were robbed. Somebody climbed on our balcony. I was living in Tampa,
Oh,
Florida. This was in
jeez.
college.
Uh-huh.
Somebody climbed on the balcony with a knife and tried to like rob us, and who
Oh,
knows, it was me and
jeez.
another female rape us. I was a college
Yeah.
teenager or whatever in my 20s.
Yeah.
And fortunately, that night her boyfriend was there. So the police came. I slept through all of this. I didn't even wake up. They told me all of this the next morning. And he's like, and by the way, there was this black kitten that appeared. So he threw it in the house. So I wake up in the morning. There's a black kitten there, and I go to I get the story, and he tells me he threw this black kitten in the house that just appeared out of nowhere. And black cats are protective, right? That's what
Mm-hmm.
they do. They're like black crystals. They protect
Mm-hmm.
you. So I walk out of the house the next day, and I close the door. I leave the kitten in because I had to go to school, and I come back. I turn my back, and there's another black kitten that looks exactly the same. I'm like, oh my god, how did it sneak out between my legs? So I open the door, try to shove it in there, and there's two identical, literally
Oh.
twins, black kittens out of nowhere. So I eventually had to only keep one. I had that cat for 22 years, and That cat was my
Yeah.
protector, you know.
Oh.
So
Mm-hmm.
that was one another soul animal that I had.
Mm-hmm.
So if they animals appear out of nowhere, it's not
Yep.
it's divine timing. And they incarnated and they have to come find you and they're guided by their angels and your angels. They
Mm.
the angelic teams, they get together and make sure it happens. Make
Oh,
sure it happens.
I want to say Maria just commented. She said, "Yes, I have that connection with my fur baby that passed away last year, and also my fur baby now. I have past lives with both of them, and our bonds are incredible."
It's incredible.
Oh,
And they come
thank
back
you.
over and over. So my Frosty, wait, I have to tell you the Frosty story. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't want to run out of time. Can we go 2 hours?
I'm totally fine with that if you want. And
I
real
mean,
quick,
you guys want to go 2 hours? I'm serious. I have
I'm
so much to
I
say.
am I am game. And I just if I could have I just wanted to welcome in Nettie's with us, Elisa and Nicole. Hold on. And excuse me, Light Magic and Goddess, Maria and Bev. Guys, we're so grateful you're here. If you want to share this out, we would greatly appreciate this because the more the merrier that people can understand. This is a lot of great information that Lolly's going to go over. Yeah, I'm game. If you're game, let's
Okay,
get
good. Okay, we're going 2 hours, guys. Yay. Okay, so invite all your friends. Share this right now. Get them on here. Get them
Yes.
on board.
Hmm.
So, okay, I'm so excited. I don't have to rush. I hate,
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay, so let me tell you the Frosty story real quick how I met Frosty,
Mhm.
how he came to me. It was like unbelievable. Okay, so I kept dreaming about this white dog for at least 10 years. I think, I'm guessing, 8 to 10 years. I kept having this dream about this white dog, and I thought it was symbolic. I kept looking up dream symbols. What does a white dog mean? Blah, 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 right? So I think I was living in California at the time, and I couldn't even have dogs, because I was living in rentals and all of that stuff. So I kept dreaming about this white dog, and as the years passed, it became clear what kind of dog this was. And I found out it was a white mini American Eskimo, or a Spitz. And I looked up the breed, and then it became clear that I was dreaming about an actual dog. Okay, not just this white symbol, or angelic
Mhm.
symbol. So, for 10 years this went on. This was ridiculous. Okay, so I had this huge transformation and change of life where I left one job. I was immediately transferred to Washington State. And when I got there, I'm like, you know what? I'm buying a house and getting a dog because I finally could because, more
Yes.
affordable there. So I decided I was buying a house and getting a dog. And I bought this townhouse that was being built, and I was living with some roommates temporarily. And they came to me one day. They said, "Come on, we're gonna go to the shelter and get you a dog." I'm like, "No, no, no." I go, "Number one, my house is not complete. Number two, I don't know what kind of a dog would fit in my house, because it was this like tri-level, like multi-level townhouse, kind of like something you would find in San Francisco, like stairs, 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 more stairs, And then I said, thirdly, I'm not getting any dog unless it's a white mini American Eskimo. Period.
Mhm. Mhm.
So they were begging me, three of them, begging me, no, no, let's go to Everett Shelter. Come on, we'll get you a dog. So something happened where we got delayed. They wanted me to go in the morning. Something happened, right? So we show up in the afternoon. I finally agreed. Okay, fine, I'll go to the shelter. So we show up in the afternoon. I walk around the cages, and lo and behold, there is a white mini American Eskimo. So I
Wow.
stop and I'm like, wow. I go, but I wanted a puppy. This animal's 6 years old. I go, but I wanted a puppy. This is what Frosty did. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, this is the count. This is the floor. Frosty did these
Oh.
numbers.
Wait. If you're in
Okay.
Clubhouse, you got to see that on YouTube. That was cute.
So I'm like, oh, okay. I go. So I asked the lady who worked there. I said, can I, play with him for a little while? She said, well, I'm gonna tell you, there's a family in front of you,
Mm.
but I'm gonna tell them that you were here before and you're first,
Mhm.
and I want you to go on the dog run with him. So I ran back and forth. They had this dog run outside. We go outside. It is like we have known each other forever.
Aw.
I mean, forever. And so we're running back and forth like we're in love. And she says to me, I'm not even going to tell the family he's adoptable. He is yours.
You knew.
So, I check out, I pay the fine, I pay the fee, check
Mhm.
out. They're driving. So I put him in my lap, and I swear to God, it was like I was being forever. So, but what I did not know is all of that, what I'm going to share with you about the animals incarnating over and over. So I just thought it was my dog, right? So after my dog, we were in love forever. And after my dog passed, it was like so, I couldn't even deal with it. And
Mhm.
then I was so distraught. And um, my friends are like, "Let's get a cat. Let's get a kitten." I'm like, "Hell no! I'm never ever getting another animal as long as I live. I'm never loving another creature." And
Right.
I wasn't going to. And then one day, this thought creeped in my mind. Maybe I'll get a kitten. I said, I'll go on the adoption pages. So I went on the adoption pages. There was hundreds of cats, hundreds
Mhm.
of kittens. I looked through every single one. I mean, hundreds. And I'm like, that one, right? So I call them up, and they're like, that cat. The cat's name was Cloud. It was a white cat. Okay, my dog was a white dog. It looked like a cat. It had pointy ears, and um, so what happened was she said, "Oh, this Cloud's not available. She's not available for another 2 weeks, but I'll meet you in Pet Supermarket in 2 weeks." So in 2 weeks, I met them, and I went to get Cloud, and I decided when I was driving there, if I'm not instantly in love with this animal, I'm not doing it.
Mhm.
I walk in, I take one look at Cloud, I ran over to the register. I'm like, "Don't touch that cat. That's my cat." So I take Cloud home, right? But still, I wasn't an animal communicator. I didn't know this, right?
Uh-huh.
Cloud was born the day Frosty was put down.
Oh my.
Hint number one.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then hint number two was it looked exactly like Frosty. Like Frosty literally looked like an oversized cat because many American Eskimos have those pointy ears.
Yes. Yep.
He looked like a cat. He didn't really look like a dog. So this cat was I mean, exactly like what looked like my dog, except had a little gray cloud over its head.
Hmm.
Okay, so then what I found out when I was at the Gurney Institute, and we're doing the class on past lives and all that stuff, was when your animal comes back to you, they're going to try to show you one or two personality traits, one or two, not everything. When they incarnate into a new being and a new body, they're going to have a new set of personality traits. It's a new body. They want to try out some other stuff.
Right.
Not everything's going to be the same, but there will be one or two uncanny things that they'll try to show you that I am that other animal. Well, when she said that, it was like, seriously, because that was my response. Because I had this like light bulb go off, and I'm going, "Oh my god, I never knew." So what? Let me tell you what Cloud tried to show me. So when I had Frosty, we bought this new house. I installed a doggy door. I had a cat for 22 years, so the cat's like, "I'll show you how to use a doggy door." So they went through the doggy door, and I put the litter box outside because I didn't have a yard. I was working full time. It was just me. So I put a litter box outside and tried to have them both use it, right? Until I could come home and walk Frosty. So the cat would, show the dog how to use a doggy door, and then would pee on the litter box. Let me show you how to use a litter box. This is how you do it. Okay, I got it. I'm a boy though. So Frosty would pee a circle around the litter box, but at least he made it to the litter box, right? So he would always pee around the litter box. And the other thing that Frosty did when I had him, when we lived in Washington, when it would snow, we had this beautiful like forest clearing behind the house. And I would take him out there, let him off leash, and he would like run these huge circles around the snow. And he was so like joyful and happiness. If I ever get down, I think of that moment. I actually have a big tooth wound in my leg because he was so happy one day. He ripped right through my wool pants and
Oh,
went right into my leg. And I didn't even feel the pain because I saw his joy, you know?
mm-hmm.
So it's my tattoo from him. Okay, so that was Frosty, right? Let's cut to Cloud. So what did Cloud do? Cloud from the beginning would pee around the litter box. She was a
Mm-hmm.
girl. She never made it in the litter box. I tried everything. I tried, okay, let me try a different cat litter. Let me try, different location. Let me try a
Mm-hmm.
tracking pad. Let me try this. Let me try that. I went to the vet. I asked everybody. It was so irritating because I could not get to the bottom of it and figure out the problem to fix it. Okay? Personality trait number one, she was showing me she was frosty. Number two, she would run outside the house, run into our yard in Florida, and run these big giant circles around the yard. Personality trait number two,
Mm-hmm.
showing me she was frosty. I did not get that until I didn't have Cloud anymore because I moved. I couldn't keep her. I tried to get a home for her. I could not find a place that would let me take pets, so I lost Cloud too. Um, so I, at the time, that I became an animal communicator, I didn't have animals except for some Jackson chameleons. And so when I found out about Cloud, I was just floored, floored. So then I found out. So then I did a past life regression with Frosty and my own issues. So the way I do past lives and the way it's helpful for all of you is if you have one of those, and you guys can ask me questions here, if you have one of those very large issues in your life, the kind where, maybe it surfaced over and over again, but you can't quite seem to get over, that's the issue we can delve into. I call myself an interspecies therapist because I go deep. I don't do the surfacey, your dog says cutesy stuff like this. No, I don't do that. I help you like on the soul level,
Mm-hmm.
and I help your animal on the soul level. And so what I do is I go in with an issue that you have, like a big giant issue. And I go in and I go into your past lives and I look at the first time that you ever have this issue, what the first past life, and then I look at an issue where your animal was with you, and then I'll look at three past lives where it has to do with the issues that we're dealing with, and then I come back and I can negotiate from the past life, that you don't have to bring these lessons forward anymore. That was then and this is now, and you can let go of all of this. It's okay to let go of it, and then we replace it with something. It's just like when you do a clearing on yourself. If you do an energy healing, you have to replace it with something good because life is, energetic field and quantum is like a vacuum. Once you remove the bad, you have to put the good in. That's how it works energetically. And so it's the same thing. So we replace it with new behaviors. And I'm going to talk to you about soul purpose versus job in a minute, okay?
Lolly,
Um,
I'm gonna check in real quick. You had said if they had any questions, and we had more people join in,
okay,
and I'm gonna
okay,
reset that room.
okay.
Um, yeah, let me just check. If you guys you just joined us in Clubhouse, I'm gonna pull a refresh. Um, and if you're new to the room, my name's Lisa Huber with the Divine I Am, and you're listening to Lolly Jane. She's an animal communicator, and you can watch her now on that link pinned above. And I wanted to ask anybody on stage, we have Nettie and Elisa and Shauna and Nancy. Welcome to Susan. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to flash your mic. Yes. Hi, Shauna. Go ahead, honey.
Hi,
Hi,
I'm
Shauna.
back. Sorry. I have a very, I mean, okay, so I have a very energetic boy. Um, he's been,
Boy, a human, an animal. What are we talking about?
um, dog.
Dog. Okay. Boy dog.
Yeah,
Okay.
boy dog. Sorry, I always just call him my boy because that's
Yep.
what he is.
He could be a horse. I don't know.
He's rotten. That's what he is.
Oh.
And I used to I used to practice this thing years and years ago, where I read a book on animal communication, and the book instructed me to lay down in a very quiet place, and this was when I had cats, um, and let them come to me and communicate with me. And I did this, and I got results.
Wow.
Hey, that's awesome.
And it was really cool, you know. But I don't know, the my dog. I have a very good I have a very good relationship, that I think that I do anyways, with RJ. Um, but sometimes it's like, dude, just listen to me, okay? Just listen. Calm down a minute and listen. That's kind of, and I think that's what he's saying to me too sometimes. Just, mom, just listen. But and I think a lot of times with him and I, we're just both going, just listen, and and lines get crossed.
It sounds like you guys are mirroring each other.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yes. Because you're telling him to listen, he's telling you to listen. You're like butting heads. Hey, listen to me. Hey, listen to me. So I'm gonna do formal training. I'm gonna do training for people that don't want to do professional. They just want to learn how to talk to their animals more. And then I'm gonna do a professional path and do training. I think I'm gonna start that in October. So just keep in touch with me. We'll give you the how to find me at the end. But I would say the biggest thing that I would say is you have to put the question out there and then just stop. Just shut your mind off. Okay? Because once if you got too many judgments about things, like when I do a communication session, like if I may think it's one thing, and sometimes I'm shocked because I still think, I try to clear my mind of judgments, but sometimes it's nothing to do with what your human intelligent mind thinks, and sometimes it's
right,
you're completely off base. So it's like you literally have to, you know ask, put a question out there, and then let them answer, and you literally have to shut your own mind off and just allow it to come. And I think the training, and why my training was so good is because, well, we had to do a million cases and get results, confirmed results from people. But because I learned to, hone in on these finer details of telepathy, like a lot of training is, you know, a week long. Like a lot of training schools out there, they're a week long, or a weekend, and that's it. That's all the training you get. And then when you go to actually do it, there's those issues, like what you're talking about. Where you could have sort of, you were sort of hitting on it, like in the training, but then when you go to do it on your own, you're like, well, I'm not quite getting it. So I'm definitely going to do training with mentoring, where you have me as a mentor, because that's really important. But I would say, like, from your situation, it just sounds like I would say, allow the thoughts to float in. And you're going to get it different ways than I'm going to get it next versus another animal communicator. You know what I mean? You're going to hear it differently. You might just get it in an image, and that's the answer. Your answers might just come in images, not audio. I'm clairaudient. Okay, so I'm a channel. I can talk to the angelic realm. I can talk to the body innate, so I can do body talk. I didn't go to school for this. It's just natural. So I'm a channel, so I'm clairaudient, and because I don't hear in this realm so good, I hear in other dimensions. So I can hear dog whistles. I can hear high frequencies. I can hear a lot of audio. So I get direct audio, and I love that because I get the personality of the animal. Because
Yes.
I get to tell people what their personality of their animals like. They crack jokes with me. They flirt with me. I talked to a Malayan sun bear at the Honolulu Zoo, and I kid you not, this bear was actually flirting with me and cracking jokes like a stand-up comic. And then when I went back to the zookeeper, I'm like, he's kind of like flirting with me. She's like, yes, he does that. He does the same thing. Yes, he does that with me. Like he'll
Hey,
rub up against me.
hey, Lolly, do you ever find you're getting ready to talk to an animal and their accent just totally throws you off? Like,
Oh my God. I love that question.
I bet.
Yes. Yes. Wow. It's like people. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they don't talk to me in French or Spanish or whatever, but they have accents. Yes, they have
Mm-hmm.
dialects. It's like the craziest and the personality.
Mm-hmm.
I'll share with you some of the zoo animal stuff, okay?
Oh, yes,
So
please.
I'm gonna get to that in a minute because that was the most profound stuff for me was the messages for humanity. The messages for humanity from the zoo animals and the different personalities. And
Wow.
like um I talked to uh Asian elephant and
Mm-hmm.
she was like this she had this voice
Mm-hmm.
like Kuan Yin or like a divine goddess. She had
Oh,
this
wow.
gentle, soft,
Mm-hmm.
divine, beautiful demeanor
Mm-hmm.
a feminine voice, you know, and it's
Mm-hmm.
amazing to me the differences. It's just like talking to a human, you know,
I
the
gotta,
differences in
I get,
personality.
I gotta tell you, I was in the restroom and I have a kitty. Well, we have six of them, and we have three black cats. And this one black cat, she found us. And I thought, well, everybody's out of the house. The TV's not on. I don't have a radio. And I heard, oh boy. And she ran up the steps, slid in the hallway, and ran into me, right up to me. And I went, I heard you. But
That is
she had
that's
look,
so awesome, isn't it?
she had this cute little girl voice. Yeah,
That
yeah.
is so awesome. So the way you know, if you get to the truth of the matter, like what this really is
Hmm.
it's your third eye and your upper chakras being open.
Hmm.
Because I do energy healing, I understand all the what's behind this. I've
Hmm.
been doing the pranic healing for 13 years.
Right.
So once you reach a certain vibrational state, we're all telepathic.
Hmm.
So back to telepathy, which I didn't share with you, is um, Carol Gurney says animal communication is not a gift. It's not a gift at all. It's a skill, a human skill. Telepathy is how we how animals communicate and how we communicate.
Hmm.
So the only difference is we haven't been trained in it. We train to do the opposite. In school, we lost the ability to use the throat chakra. You know, the throat chakra has been blocked forever because the throat chakra. I use a different system, so I don't use like the seven chakras. There's actually 12.
Hmm.
There's 11 to 12, depending on there's actually 144 if you want to get technical. But I
Right.
don't use the seven chakra. The seven chakra system is like kindergarten. Okay,
Hmm.
so once you graduate from kindergarten, you have a higher knowledge. So the higher knowledge chakras beyond the general public is 11 to 12, and then the minor chakras, which are also called meridians, comes to 144.
Right.
So the chakras, when I name the chakras, I don't use numbers because we don't use the same numbering system. So the throat chakra is your spiritual truth. That's your spiritual truth center. Okay, that's the blue ray. That's Archangel Michael. That's the blue ray, and that's the chakra of communication. That's the one for your ears, for your throat, for speaking your spiritual truth, And then once you go higher, um, is your ajna chakra right here. Your ajna
That
is
brings
the
us to the end
master
of this
chakra.
episode. I hope you
And
enjoyed
the
this amazing show on talking to animals as much as I love doing it. Please be sure to subscribe for parts 2 and 3. Book your animal communication session now or check out my upcoming workshops and classes. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain, as well as opening your mind, heart, and spirit to your deep connection with your beloved animals. For more information, please visit my website at animals-speak.com or mindbodyspiritworkshops.com. And please subscribe to my monthly newsletter for invites on classes, workshops, and events, and the latest podcast. Join us next week for episode 18, part 2, Talking to Animals with Loli Jane. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to subscribe, like, and rate us. And as always, love and gratitude for listening to the Loli Jane Animal Communication and Healing Podcast. This is Loli Jane. Cast was created, produced, and recorded, researched, and edited by Loli Jane and is a product of Loli Jane Animal Communication and Healing.